11 hours from right now takes control of the 9 p.m. time slot. Good morning to you, Tucker.
Always at 11 hours. Thank you, Steve.
Are you excited? Are you a little nervous? What's going on inside Tucker's head?
Well, I mean, you know it much better than I, having done it for much longer than I. You're in your studio with the same cameraman, and it feels kind of the same, and it feels great. I mean, I'm gonna, trying to think about anything bigger than that. So yeah, I'm totally excited.
Well, I'll be watching. We are.
You did great in the dress rehearsal. It's 7 o'clock, so we're excited for you. All right, let's talk about what's happening in Washington today. Confirmation hearings all this week, I should say. Not today. They're starting tomorrow. So the Democrats are really upset. People are mad because they're saying that some of these folks haven't completed their ethics reviews, which means they fill out these forms of who they've given money to in the past, where what their bank holdings are, that kind of thing. Democrats are saying we need to see that before we confirm these guys. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, that's a diversion. I mean, on its merits, it's a totally fair point. You ought to know who your cabinet secretaries are, and they ought to have gone through FBI background checks, and we ought to assess their ethics, et cetera. I mean, that's all legitimate, and those are long-standing traditions, of course. But this is really about Jeff Sessions. I mean, make no mistake at all. It's about the Attorney General, which is the most significant appointment the new president will make for a bunch of different reasons. And Jeff Sessions, of course, has been vetted. He's been in the Senate a long time. He's been in public life for more than 30 years. The FBI has vetted him. So there's no question about his bona fides. There's no question that he's not some secret Russian agent. They just don't like his views, and they especially don't like his views on immigration. But they're not going to attack him on immigration because his views are actually pretty close to where the public is on immigration. You know, secure the borders, don't undercut American labor with low-wage immigrants, et cetera. I mean, people agree with him. So they're going to attack him, as they always do, wait for it, as a racist. And that's what they're doing now. By the way, there's no evidence of that at all, and it's a slur, and it lowers the tone dramatically. It's bad for the country, but that's all they've gotten, so that's what you're going to hear.
And, of course, the Democrats are bringing up what has been depicted as a joke, like 30 years ago, that he made as an example that he's racist. But here's the thing, Tucker. Because the Democrats changed the rules a number of years ago, all these guys are going to get through, and the Democrats have only themselves to blame.
That's right. I mean, they just, of course, the Democrats changed the rule, and so you need a simple majority. Tillerson, the Secretary of State, the nominee, former head of ExxonMobil, you're hearing a couple Republicans, specifically John McCain and Lindsey Graham, say, wait a second, we need to know more about his ties to Russia, et cetera. He ran the biggest oil company in the world. Of course, he does have ties to Russia, not surprisingly. I think he'll get through. What bothers me about this is I think the country could use a debate on immigration and trade, and those are the two issues that, you know, people are actually upset about. But again, we're not getting that. Instead, you're going to hear all kinds of implications about the character of these people. Let's debate the issues. These are real issues, and I think all of us would benefit from an adult conversation about them, but we're not going to get it.
Tucker, if I know anything about you, it's that you love the Golden Globes. You circle the date in October about a year out. I mean, every America will soon know that about you. And speeches, this is the first big event like that since Donald Trump was elected. Meryl Streep got a Lifetime Achievement Award, but used it to bash Donald Trump, unsurprisingly. Take a listen to what she had to say.
All of us in this room really belong.
As Tucker telling the Hollywood foreign press, you know, you need to hold Mr. Trump accountable, unlike what you did with Barack Obama for the last 8 years.
Right, and here you have a rich, entitled person describing herself as an outsider, an outcast, a pariah, which is, of course, exactly the opposite. I guess, look, she doesn't like Trump. That's totally fine. Lots of people don't. You're allowed to feel that way. But what I was so struck by is she was telling a crowd exactly what they wanted to hear. She was saying things that are totally uncontroversial within the context she was speaking. That's the least courageous thing you could do. I mean, and you're seeing people jump up and say, wow, she's speaking truth to power. Really? To be in a room full of rich Hollywood liberals and say liberal things? I mean, it would be really interesting and cool, by the way, if she were to stand up and say something they disagreed with. I mean, that would be a moment where you could say, wow, you know.
I just joined the NRA, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly right. But it just annoys me, not even her political point of view, which I don't, you know, whatever, but it annoys me that she gets away with pretending to be some sort of outcast or outsider. I mean, she's literally the opposite of that. She's Meryl Streep. She's one of the most famous people in the world, one of the best paid people in the world. You're not an outsider. Please, you're not a victim. And when rich people get to describe themselves as victims, as the current president of the United States often does, I don't know, it devalues the term.
Yeah, the media continues to be at it, not just at the Golden Globes, but also around what Donald Trump is accomplishing. We reported this morning that another car manufacturer deciding to build here in the United States as opposed to in Mexico, and that comes as a string of others have decided to do the same because of a friendly business climate. However, an outlet like AP, the Associated Press, has articles like this. I got to read a quote from one of their recent articles that says, "It hits us like a bucket of cold water." He's talking about Mexico here, Mexican workers. It hits them like cold water. The younger generation would be hurt most by cancellations like this. They were already dreaming of going there to that Ford plant that's moving from Mexico to the United States, and at the last minute, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So you've got fawning stories about the impact on Mexico without as much coverage of how it's going to affect
They
workers
feel
here.
sorry for the Mexicans that are losing their jobs to Americans.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it reminds me of like the sanctuary cities. Democrats are so worried about protecting the people in sanctuary cities. Meanwhile, what about the Americans that have the right to be here, like Kate Steinle, who was killed by one of these? You know, it's just like the wrong narrative, the wrong focus here.
Well, of course. I'm glad they're finally admitting that there are losers in trade deals, though, that not everybody wins. I mean, look, we've had NAFTA for almost 25 years. You haven't seen 25 years of continuous coverage of the effect on American manufacturing because of NAFTA or any of our trade deals, right, at all. That's all sort of been ignored, and we've been told sort of endlessly this propaganda that we're all winning from this. Everybody's a beneficiary. And that's just a lie. I mean, you know, you could argue that maybe NAFTA was worth it, but you can't pretend that there was no cost to Americans because there was, of course, and the press has ignored that. So for them to say, well, oh my gosh, all of a sudden we're discovering that there's a downside to a trade arrangement and Mexico is being hurt, I mean, it really is a parody.
Now, Tucker, just while you were talking at the very conclusion, a banner popped up below your face. It shows you, Tucker Carlson Tonight, says you're moving to 9 p.m. Eastern starting tonight. We should point out that Brett Baer is going to have a 2-hour show from 6 to 8, then O'Reilly, then you. You're going to do some interviews. There will be confrontation. And this is new for primetime. You're actually going to do a half-hour of cooking, which I think is a very brave.
Yeah. And where do you think I learned my skills, Steve, by the way?
Fox and Friends.
But
I
America
trained
wants.
under the best. That's exactly
Tucker,
right.
you are the new king. I don't know if our viewers can see it right now, but look at your face on the bottom and your pocket square. It looks like a crown on your head, and it fits. I mean, you're the king.
Oh, it does.
I
It
can't
does.
see it, but thank you.
Off to the side. You know what's great, though, Tucker? It's cool that Fox promotes within, and I'm really happy for you. I know we all are. You've really earned it.
Well, they certainly do that, and they're the most. I've worked a lot of places. This is the most supportive by far, no comparison.
I agree with you.
In the best way.
And the mission statement of your show for folks who only watch Fox News Channel in the morning but could be watching at night is what? What's your message when you do your show?
Well, I want to ask the questions that you would ask if you had the chance to ask them. You know, and not sucking up, but ask the sincere questions, not gotcha questions, not designed to hurt people or trip them up, but a sincere question, and then sort of press until you get the answer.
Who's on tonight, Tucker?
I can't tell you that. It's a secret all-star. It's a secret all-star lineup. It's going to be great, and I can say that with total sincerity. I'm just afraid if I say it out loud, the person will cancel.
All right, any advice from Martha? Because both of y'all did the mornings. You were weekend Fox and Friends. She's done the morning right after our show. She's going to 7. You're going to 9. What's your advice?
Advice from Martha?
Yeah.
Oh, I would never. Martha is the most talented TV person. Every person in the building worships at the altar of Martha McCallum. No, I'm asking advice from her. There's no way.
No, I am not talking about clearly she trumps you, Tucker. I'm just kidding.
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
that's for
No,
sure.
I'm really kidding. Y'all are both amazing, but I'm talking about the schedule. Is it much different? What do you have to do to prepare?
I think it's great. I mean, because you have all day. You can exercise. You can go to lunch. You can see your family, and you can think about it. No, I'm serious. You can think about it all day long.
What do you do to exercise?
He runs
Do
a
you
lot.
run? You're a big
Listen
runner?
to the Grateful Dead on the treadmill for a half hour. Nothing hard, trust me, as you can tell.
You know, Tucker, the great thing about you is you're only going to do 1 hour, 9 o'clock at night. You could have a full-time job during the day.
I know. I
job.
could be like a fireman. I may start installing tile or something. I may do that.
Yeah, do 2 24s. That's very
You hear that?
doable.
Janice
I'd like to
is
see
over there.
something in a
Janice'
nice
husband's a
travertine.
firefighter. He'll teach you.
All right.
I love your tease for the show, too.
All right.
I can't tell you